It's packs dropping in 1 day, 16 hours, and 57 minutes now. Tribal Books. This is from the Prospectors team, correct? Is that correct, Bonds?
That's correct. It's the Weekend Blockchain Games Development Team. Same
Cool.
team that produced Prospectors.
All right. And well, as you can see, my guest tonight is Bonds Manifest. How you doing, Bonds?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Welcome in. We'll give it another minute or two here just to let those latecomers join us live. Then we'll get into talking about Tribal Books, and there will be some pack giveaways at the end of the stream, as well as, if you have not already, we're going to be giving away more packs from this tweet as well. I'll leave a link to this in the live chat. For anyone who did not already follow, like, retweet, and comment your Wax account name, I put that into the live chat for you guys. So if you're on the stream, there's two ways to win some packs. At the end of this stream, we will be doing live pack giveaways. Well, picking the winners. The packs aren't out yet. They're not available. So once they do become available, we'll send you the packs and also this tweet as well. So winners from this tweet, winners from tonight's stream will be getting some Tribal Books packs. How is everybody doing? Let's pop the chat over here. There we go. How's everybody doing tonight, or day, morning, whatever it is, wherever you are? Just going to give it another minute for those latecomers to come in and join us. I'm in like Flynn.
How's it looking, Rod? We getting some viewers trickling in?
Yeah, we got 21 viewers now.
If anybody has the link to this and they want to drop it in the Tribal Books Telegram or in any of the other Wax NFT Telegram groups or in any Discords or any other chats you think people might like to check out this game, go ahead and do so.
All right. Best YouTubers ever. Thank you. This game sounds amazing. Yes, it does. All right. Well, let me X out of this and, let's jump right into it. Let's start talking Tribal Books. So, Bonds, what is Tribal Books?
Thanks. Glad you asked. Good question, Rob. Peer-to-peer card playing game, sort of along the lines of like a Splinterlands or maybe similar to Dark Country or Hearthstone or another peer-to-peer type card game, although this one will use NFTs. And the cool thing about this game that will separate it from some of the other kind of like card games, so really there's never been a game like this before. It's really kind of unique, so it's kind of hard to directly compare it to anything, but the one aspect I think that makes it really unique and kind of cool is the fact that there's going to be sort of a map to it and sort of a path that you're on. And so as you're doing battles and playing against other players, you're also then sort of navigating your way through this map, which will bring you to different areas that will have different treasures, and different spots on the map will have will utilize different NFTs when you're battling someone. So yeah, it's pretty involved, and I think it's going to be pretty unique and be different than anything that's currently on the market now. So yeah, like I said, player versus player battles, right? So you're randomly going to be matched up with another player at the start of each round, right? The deal is at every round you're going to be like formulating a deck of cards from your your NFT stack, as well as a book, the tribal book, and the book is what contains the sort of magical forces. So you'll grab a bunch of cards that are going to be your moves and whichever book that you want to take in a battle with you, and you will battle another player that the game will pick at random for you that's sort of equally matched. And after that, whoever wins that battle will earn some experience points, some knowledge as they call it. And so as you play the game and you're building up your character and you're gaining more knowledge, you're actually unlocking more spells, more magical abilities for your book, whichever book you're using. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Cool. So let's go right into the cards and actually see here what these packs are packed with. One thing I will note, I do like, when these drops, these collections on wax, and by the way, this is on wax, stick to these normal category names here, but there's commons, rares, uniques, epics, legendaries, and mythicals. And I will share here one thing that has me excited is the print numbers. So let's head over here. So this drop is only going to have 41,000 cards for this first edition card set. And then 42,500 total because there's going to be 1,500 books. Is that right?
That is right, Rob. And as like you said, it's a really low mint number, especially when you compare it to some of the last few bigger drops that we've seen on wax, where some of them I think had over 200,000.
Yeah.
So it's a lot closer to what we saw with the original GPK OS 1 drop, which had I think just over 100,000 cards. So this drop at 42,000 is less than half of the GPK Series 1 drop, which is pretty significant.
Yeah, so if the random number generator pops out everything perfectly, we're looking at 20,320 common cards, 11,140 rare cards, 4,560 unique, 3,272 epics, 1,644 legendaries, and 64 mythic cards for a total of 41,000. That's, I think the lowest drop, well, I'm not sure with some of these drops, but the lowest drop I can remember was GPK Series 1, and it was like 120,000 or 112,000 or something. 41,000, that's, pretty much everything's rare at that point.
Right. And another thing to note about the low actual card drop is the actual total number of unique symbols. So there's actually 187 different unique symbols in total, right? So it's like, again, to compare it maybe to like GPK OS 1, where we had 41 cards, but there's an A and a B. So really 82 totally separate, different, unique symbols or cards, as far as GPK. So this one actually has, Tribal Books has 187. So, you can imagine that, there isn't going to be tons of doubles likely, and of course, as you said, they're all pretty rare with that sort of number. So, right off the bat, they're really trying to make sure that all the cards are of course important to the game and they all have a use case, but also they're all going to be pretty rare, relatively speaking.
Yeah, so more on the lines of cogs, where there's just so many different variations you can get, whereas, GPK was just an A card and a B card, and, there's 41 of them. So yeah, that's going to keep the numbers of each unique card down as well. So that would be cool to see the numbers that, are expected for each unique version in common, rare, unique, epic, etc. Because those will be super low. It might be the lowest we've seen yet.
So within those rarities, there's actually specific symbols that are specific to those rarities. There's 57 different common symbols, 52 different rare symbols, 28 unique symbols, 21 epic symbols, only 15 legendary symbols, and only 13 mythic symbols. And all this can be found on the website too. You can go back and check it out. But basically, it's those are the numbers for each rarity. So there's only 13 different mythic symbols total made, and out of those, of course, the random number generator is going to dictate which ones of those. So it's very likely that there could be only one or two, maybe even, it's very similar to like what we saw with it, again, comparing it to GPK OS 1, the CEs, which of course I know you're familiar with, Rob, with catching that one right on the live stream. We all saw that was a pretty epic moment. Actually, you did that a couple times, right? I think I was watching a couple live streams and saw you pull some pretty amazing stuff. But yeah, the CEs, I think some of the GPK CEs only had maybe even one issued of maybe one or two of them. There was very low numbers, and a couple other ones had maybe 3 or 4 minted total. So I expect like a similar number to that with the mythic cards in this NFT drop. And so on that note, like I said, there's 2 different types of NFTs. The cards, of course, themselves, like we're talking about, with 187 different unique symbols, which have, I believe, 41,000 total that are being minted. There's also going to be 1,500 books minted, and the books are also NFTs. They're a little bit different. So when you buy the book pack, you're actually only getting 1 book, and the books themselves also have a rarity to them, right? So it goes by a percentage. So every time you're minting a book pack and you do the pack opening, it goes by percentages. So it's 52% common, 24% rare, 11% unique, 8% epic, 4% legendary, and 1% of them will be mythics. So you can imagine, I think the numbers, the way that extrapolates out, if every book pack is bought and opened, there's only going to be, what does that work out to? 15 mythic books, randomly, roundabout, if the numbers hold true. So that's not a lot, so, and the books themselves are obviously a really important part of the game. And so, with only 1,500 to start out with for this original series, you can imagine they're going to be pretty sought after. And another cool thing about the books is that, of course, like I was explaining before, so the books are kind of like the vessel for the magical forces within the game, right? So as you're moving through the game and you're gaining experience points, you're unlocking new magic, right? You're actually like leveling up that book. And so, and of course, each book is actually connected to one of the specific tribes. So you have all these sort of elements that are kind of coming into play when you talk about the books. And so, you can imagine the books will have, as people are building them up, they're getting more valuable, right? Like, so, someone's put, play the game, got a lot of experience points, unlocked a lot of magic with that book. And so that book, of course, can be traded on the market on Atomic Hub. So I would expect to see, there be a market of people who play the game and build up their characters, and then sort of trade their books and their NFTs. And you can imagine, if someone has a pretty rare book, then it'll most likely be pretty valuable if the game takes off and gets as big as what we're hoping it will be.
All right, well, let's just continue that right into talking about the packs. So when is the exact time that the sale starts?
So the sale starts at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And I think it shows the UTC time maybe on the website. I don't have that right in front of me, but you can go to tribalbooks.io. There's actually a countdown. Yeah, there you go. Countdown timer of when the sale actually starts. It's going to be 11/11 at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And the pack sale will happen right on the website. There'll be a link right from the website to take part in the pack sale. And of course, the pack sale is in wax. So no credit cards for this one. So if you want to take part in the sale, make sure you have a Wax account. And Wax account is actually free. If you don't have one yet, you can get one. You go to allaccess.wax.io and you can get a free Wax Cloud wallet. So if you don't have one yet, just, you can search Wax Cloud wallet. They're easy to get. You can, I think, just get it with like an email. Very simple to set up. You don't even need to worry about private keys. If anybody here is, not familiar with it, it's probably one of the easiest wallets to set up. So if you don't have a Wax account, grab yourself a Wax account, and you're going to want to have some Wax tokens in that account in order to participate in the sale and actually buy some packs this Wednesday.
All right, so let's talk these packs.
Yeah.
So there's the booster pack, which high probability of a mythical card at 0.5%. That is 500 wax per pack. The legendary pack, which is guaranteed 1 legendary and 1 epic. The booster was a 3-card pack. The legendary is a 10-card pack. And you can see it's only 0.05% chance of the mythical, but you get 1 legendary and 1 epic guaranteed. And then the book pack. The book pack is 300 wax, and you get 1 book in that pack. And the starter pack, which is 700 wax, a 0.2% chance at a mythic, and guaranteed 2 rare and 1 unique. This is also a 10 card pack. So do you know pack numbers? How many of each pack?
So the booster and the starter pack are both going to have 2,000 of those packs.
Okay.
And the legendary pack, there's only 1,500. Okay. And as you pointed out, the booster pack does have the highest percentage of the mythic, and that's something kind of different that we've seen in from most of the drops I think so far in Wax. Most of the time, usually you have the the cheaper packs will have less of a chance at getting like the more rares, and they mix it up a little bit, and they made the booster pack, which only has 3 cards in it, but it has the highest percent chance of getting a mythic. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. The between the booster packs and starter packs, that's 4,000 packs, and then 1,500 of the legendary packs. So 5,500 packs in total, for a total of 41,000 cards. And then, like you said, 1,500 of the book pack, which actually only contains 1 book. And that the rarity of that book will be determined at the time of minting. So it'll be totally random to see how many of each rarity book pops out, but there'll only be a total of 1,500 books. Now, one thing I will point out too about this sale that makes this one kind of totally unique, aside from obviously being, as they've advertised, this is going to be the most rare drop that they're going to do, like as far as the card counts goes. And the other thing that makes this collection sort of unique is this is going to be called the Ancient Symbols Collection. And what separates the ancient symbols from what we'll see in future drops is that the ancient symbols are actually universal with all characters and all book types. So this original series 1 will be totally unique in that they're totally universal. And in the future, when there's drops, there'll be certain characters there'll be certain cards that will work specifically better with certain characters. And the same with books. There might be, say, like Magical Forces NFTs that are very specific to a particular book that, the books, like I said, are linked to a tribe. So you can imagine in the future, there's going to be they're going to be more specific, right? They could be, so you can imagine if you're building up a certain type of character, then of course, a drop might come and you might try to collect the NFTs for that specific character. Whereas this initial set of NFTs, like I said, will be totally universal and work with every character. So you can imagine in the future, these ones will have that added set of utility, and people will, of course, you can imagine they'll be sought after since they have the higher level of utility.
So are you talking, like, I have the card image pulled up with all the magic elements, symbol, power.
Right.
Are you talking water, fire, earth, wind?
Yep. Exactly. So in the top right-hand corner there, you see the element. And so another aspect that I'll touch on quickly is going to be, so you see that card that you have in front of you, how it has up in the top right-hand corner, has the element, which can be earth, water, fire, wind, air. Those as you see them when the packs come, they're going to basically be, it's sort of like a mixed element symbol, and that will be one of the elements of the card that actually is populated after the testing, as well as the power number. So you'll see the way that the cards look right now, there's actually a question mark where the number goes. And there's another part of the card that won't be filled in either, which is the actual like description under the name. So it's like exactly what the card does. So you can see on like the example there, like that card that you have in front of you is sort of like a movement card, right? So you can see it's got like the footsteps in the corner, and there's, a handful of different types of cards. There's like the movement one, and there's one where you're like creating this sort of an obstacle for your opponent. And there's another one that can sort of remove an obstacle that an opponent laid for you. There's another type of card which actually allows you to basically interact with your opponent's deck in a way. So that sounds really interesting. So yeah, all these different sort of aspects of the card, including the element, aren't actually populated in there yet. So of course you're going to know the rarity, and you're going to know the card name and the symbol, but the actual power number Those are some of the parts of the balance that's still being worked out. So the game is only in alpha now, and basically as the game moves into beta, they're basically playing around with the numbers to make sure that the game balance is reached. There's a very particular balance that we're looking to achieve to make sure, of course you want every card to be useful and every card to have a purpose, and every card to have value and to be useful in the game in some area of the game. And so like I was saying about the elements, to kind of get back to where we started, the elements where up in the top right hand corner, you can imagine in different parts of the map, different elements will actually be more advantageous. So when you're picking your strategy, when you're going to start a battle, not only are you looking through your deck and trying to come up with a strategy, you're actually taking into account where you are on the map, and you're going to use that to your advantage when you're making your deck, right? So there's sort of a lot of strategy that's going to come into play just by forming your deck before each battle. And of course, all that information will come in handy, and of course, having a very sort of diverse deck could be one strategy where you're sort of trying to cover all your bases and be sort of prepared for anything. Or you could maybe have more of a specific deck that you assemble where you're really trying to like clue in on one aspect or one element that should give you an advantage. And of course you'll play against a player, and if you win, you're going to get that knowledge and experience points. And of course, if you lose, you'll realize you need to reassemble your deck and maybe grab a different magic book and go back and try again, come up with a different strategy.
Okay, so it's not about all building an entire water deck or an entire fire deck. You essentially want to build up all of these, because at different times in the game, one is going to be more advantageous than the other.
Exactly right. You can imagine that having the full deck would give you the full range of options, right? And of course, because every card is important at all different times of the map, there really is having a diverse deck and having as many of the different types of symbols as possible would really be the best strategy. But then within each section of the game, you still need to sort of dial in. And then of course you're playing against a real person, and so they're going to affect what strategy you chose, because you're not just playing against the map, you're playing against another person. And so they, of course, their strategy is going to come into play with which strategy you chose. So yeah, it's going to be cool in that aspect, to have so much utility, and that's something that I think with NFTs, we kind of saw a wave of all these sort of collectible NFTs that are collectibles, and then there was sort of, and then there was then it seemed like there was a new drop coming every week, and then it seemed like there was, there's just been drop after drop of all these NFTs. Now it's starting to get to the point where there's so many, and I'm actually excited to see now the fact that there's, some utility, some thought put into these NFTs where, you can actually, collecting them is going to be more than just looking at them. It's going to add in this whole element of, when you're searching the market, you're not just looking to fill your set. You're actually maybe looking for specific elements that maybe you don't have enough of, or specific type of moves that maybe that you're light on, and you want to make sure that you're diversified. Make sure your deck has some of everything. So it kind of adds a whole nother element to collecting them. The fact that they do have utility, and you are going to be able to use them to play a game. And of course, the game, as the team has announced, and I'll go ahead and announce again, right off the bat from this sale, the team is taking 10% of the total sales, and they're putting that into a prize pool for some tournaments that are going to be. So right after the game launches, there's going to be some tournaments set up, and they're going to be just straight, making prize pools and trying to attract, more players to come in and play the game. And of course, they'll continue doing that, and the prize pools will continue growing. And as the game, moves forward, you can imagine that, I'm sure Rob, that some of these tournaments that go on for some of these gaming things are crazy amounts of money they're giving away in some of these esports, tournaments. And some of the, even Magic the Gathering has, sort of a huge like tournament, world tournament sort of league where people have playoffs and they make their way all the way up. And there's like big money involved, And I think that, the team has a grand vision for this game. I think they're thinking beyond, in terms of like a blockchain game. And I think they're more thinking, sort of like we see what Blankos is doing, like where they're launching a game, not to be a blockchain game, but to be a AAA game that's fun for everyone to play, where your character happens to also be an NFT, that you can trade on the market, and then and gives you, all the great things that NFTs provide, like true ownership and the ability to trade, on a secondary market. So I think they're really, really shooting for the stars, and they're trying to make a game that's going to be, sort of for the masses and mass adopted, but be able to, tie in true ownership and, make the cards of the game be NFTs and be tradable, and all those reasons that we love NFTs.
So on that note, I believe I heard you say like there's going to be like, this isn't just going to be on blockchain. There's going to be an iOS app, Android app.
Exactly right.
Okay, so this is going to be more than just the website. There's going to be actual apps in the App Store, in the game category for people outside of blockchain to discover as well.
Yeah, there's some crazy statistic about like most people are playing games on apps. I think of course there's a huge gaming community that plays games on PC, but I think and I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but it's overwhelmingly you want to basically have your game in the App Store. And so that was one of the goals from the team from very early on. They basically designed the game to be played in an app. So yeah, I think that when the game launches, it will be launched on Android and iOS, and you'll be able to play. It'll be mobile ready, of course. And so I think that sort of opens it up to just a way broader of a market, and doesn't just sort of limit it to the PC gamer crowd, or to like we talk about all the time, the blockchain people. Of course, blockchain is still niche, and the blockchain games is still kind of a small community, and we hope to, of course, bring the community that we have, and the community that for prospectors in the Wax community and people who are into these games. Of course, we know that that's going to be our base, but of course, by launching it on the App Store, we hope to be one of the first mass adopted NFT card games.
That's a good lead in. Do you know how many people are playing Prospectors?
I think you can check it on DApp Radar. I want to say that between Wax and I think they both have around maybe 1,500 players, daily active players still.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, even not looking at daily active. So if we can say there's 4,000 people that have ever played the game, if all those 4,000 come over, that's 10 cards each, based on the 40,000 drop number. Like, this is such a crazy low drop.
Yeah, I mean, think about the books as well. I mean, there's only 1,500 books, right?
1,500 books.
There's 1,500 players. And I think Prospectors on Wax has around 1,500 players right now. I'm not sure what the numbers are in EOS right now. But yeah, I mean, you just think like that's only enough books for one book per person. And I think people will want to. I think I'm going to probably want to collect like a few books, like I'm going to probably want to grab a couple, so there really isn't a ton. And like you said, yeah, I mean, it's a small community, and we wanted to keep the card count low and keep the numbers low so that they, stayed valuable. We want, like I said before, of course, every card has utility and every card is valuable. So what we wanted to avoid is like what you saw with, some of these drops where there's just so many of the commons, and it seems like, you open a pack and you'd get, three, I remember opening, not to call out BCH, but Blockchain Heroes packs, I swear, like I would open packs and there'd be 3 of the same card in a row in the packs. And like the last bunch of packs I opened, it was like that, where there's just like, I'd be like, double, like of the same card, And so it's like the chances of that happening with tribal books is pretty low. And another thing I'll add about the fact of the cards holding their value is the fact that there's going to be this element called the mana token. So it's going to be an actual EOSIO token called mana for the game that you can actually get by burning any of the cards, NFTs. So any of these ancient symbols, which of course this set, these ones, like I wouldn't really recommend people be, we're probably going to want to hold on to these ones. We might not want to burn these right away because, you can imagine these ones, the fact that they're universal, you might want to use them, but you can imagine in the future, say, when the packs have cards that are, maybe specific for certain elements, and maybe you don't need those cards. So, you'll send them off and you'll burn them, and you'll get mana tokens in exchange for burning that card. So not only is this a super low card count drop, but you're inevitably going to have some people that are going to burn some of these cards as well to get the mana. And the mana tokens you'll be able to exchange for other exclusive, super unique items as well that, may or may not be universal. You can imagine they're going to be, pretty special, the releases that come out that are exchanged for mana, and of course super limited in addition as well. But the mana token is another really cool aspect. I know one really cool thing that like Blockchain Heroes did, a couple weeks after their launch, and it seemed like, the sale was kind of dying down, and there started to be, a lot of those common cards. Like we mentioned, you have these big drops with hundreds of thousands of cards, and, you start to see a lot of the common cards on the market. The market gets flooded with NFTs, and they go down, sometimes to just a few wax. And so those guys actually introduced a burning mechanism, and they made a cool kind of story about it, where it was like a vortex, and you had to send the cards into the vortex, right? And you get this like special card or whatever. And there was one thing that, sort of like as soon as they announced that, one thing that happened in the market is you noticed that people went through and basically bought up all the super cheap ones, because then they realized, well, yeah, if I could send this off and get this, more unique asset that, it sort of, mopped up the low end of the market. People bought those up. And so that's something right from the beginning that Tribal Books has sort of incorporated, is this burning mechanism. So people are, there's always going to be this reluctance to sell your card too cheap. Right? Like there is no card that's useless. And, if you're going to bother to get rid of it, maybe you should just get rid of it for mana tokens instead. Right. So it makes this whole element where, there really is no junk cards that you really that you want to just get rid of, because ultimately you could just burn them and get the mana tokens. So if you're going to sell them, you want to sell them for at least, and again, like those mana tokens almost then have a value as well. And those mana tokens, will sort of prop up the price of the card in a way, because people won't be willing to sell the card for less than what the mana tokens would be worth. And you can imagine that, it is blockchain, right? So if the token's tradable, I wouldn't be surprised to see that token pop up on, an exchange like Alcor, where you have, peer-to-peer trading, similar to the PSS tokens and prospectors, where players, are able to earn the PSS token, which gets you, a cut, you're getting a cut, you're getting a small percentage off from the fund in prospectors. And it'll be similar to that, where players will earn these mana tokens, and they might just list them, instead of trading the mana tokens in to get this unique asset, they might just be hustling to get the mana tokens and then sell those mana tokens on the open market as well. So it just creates a whole nother level of game theory to it, where all these NFTs are going to have a value to them and going to hold a value, and you really shouldn't see it dip too much below a certain point.
Yeah, so it's really an interesting dynamic setting up. Not only do you have a game in Tribal Books that's coming from an already existing wax blockchain game team that has an already existing community, but you have these different elements where one element is going to be better at one time, the other element is going to be better at another time. So it's not like you just want to collect one element. And on top of that, there's only 41,000. I mean, it's such a low drop number. It's going to be crazy to see what happens on the secondary market, just from all these different dynamics lining up. It's I mean, I don't know what else to say on that. It's kind of mind-boggling how low the mint numbers are, or the total number of cards and total number of packs in this, but it got me excited for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me
and as we're kind of turning the corner here on these NFT drops, where we're going to start to see more NFT. Of course, NFTs, this whole market is brand new, right? And it just started. I mean, it was only a couple of years ago there was no such thing as NFTs, right? And CryptoKitties comes along and has kind of a cool game theory to it, but essentially you're just looking at a picture, right? And then you have as we saw with Wax, all these collectible sets come along, and now we're starting to finally see some cool games where NFTs are actually part of what'll look to be a mainstream game. Again, I'll bring up Blankos, a AAA game by a real game team that's, they're not looking to just, scoop up, the blockchain gaming crowd. They're going after mainstream gaming crowds, like The size of, it will compete with, games like Roblox and, Roblox, excuse me. Games that are mainstream, that are, household names. That's how big I see, some of these games like Blanco's getting. And the fact that then, all those game assets within that game, from the guns to the skins, the hats, and the shoes and the stuff that the characters wear, all these things will be NFTs on an EOSIO blockchain in limited edition, on that note, I know obviously everyone's excited about Blancos, and everyone's getting those characters to use to play in the game. And even with that, there's very little transparency as far as how many they actually, they're saying it's going to be the most limited edition characters in Blancos, yet they didn't even say exactly how many's there, So that's one really cool thing about this drop. It's like, we know exactly how many of these assets there are and how many books there's going to be. And we know that they're going to have a particular unique utility within the game moving forward that, future drops won't necessarily have. Like I said, the assets launched in the future will be compatible with only certain kinds of books or certain types of characters. So one thing we kind of skipped over earlier when I was kind of talking about the game was about the characters, right? So, when you start the game, there's actually going to be, there's going to be like some options of characters, right? And, I don't know if it's quite decided exactly if you'll be able to, when the game starts, you might be able to choose between a few different characters. But of course, then as the game progresses, and you make your way through the map, I think how it's going to work is there's going to be the ability where you'll basically unlock characters. So now you have, a character maybe that belongs to one tribe, and you make your way through the map, and then you run into this character, and now you have that character as your repertoire. So basically you're going to be able to, and I think that eventually, you'll maybe be able to purchase characters. It'll be like another in-game purchase, or maybe there'll be like certain more rare characters. And then there might be, in a future drop, the ability to buy packs that might have an additional type of character. And so these characters, of course, are tied to the different tribes, tied to the different elements, and the players will be able to upgrade their characters during the game, like round after round. And of course the characters will belong to one of the guilds of elements specifically, and those elements, like we were talking about earlier with the NFTs, they'll give that particular character an advantage on some segment of the path. So at some part of the map, different characters are actually even gonna be better to use than other characters. So it's similar to the cards, right? And then of course you can imagine if that character is, part of one of the guilds, say the wind element or the fire, that character of course will have, that advantage using those element of cards, and like I said, in the future, I think the plan is that, the NFTs will be specific to certain players and specific to certain tribes. So you can imagine too, you'd have this collection of characters that you're building up, and, you have this, sort of badass character that you collect up all the cards that are for that element, and you sort of be a master of that element. And of course on that section of the map, you're going to be really hard to beat, right? Whereas then on some other part of the map, maybe someone collected another type of character and built up those characters, and they're going to be really hard to beat on that part of the map. And so of course, and then you zoom out and you go to the real life version when there's going to be these major tournaments that are going to happen that anyone can enter. You might be really awesome in one part of the map, but if you're playing against these players who have all different decks built up and all different characters built up, you can imagine some pretty cool battles where, one player might be, dominant against one type of deck, and, they might come up against another player and they get taken out. And, that's going to be really cool to sort of watch this all unfold and see how it plays out and see what kind of strategies people take as far as collecting them. And of course it all comes down to the game, right? Like, if the game is fun and there's a lot, the map is really, it's fun to explore and people get really sucked in, you can imagine that the tournaments will just be huge in the future, with hopefully a lot of money at stake. And maybe in the future we see, pro tribal books players that are showing up to their tournaments with all their NFTs in their phone instead of rolling around with their decks in a briefcase, like these Magic the Gathering guys. They got these they walk around with a briefcase with their deck in it. It's like in the future it'll be you'll be carrying your phone with you into a tournament, and or be taking place. The tournament will be taking place on your living room couch while you're hanging out with your family. You'll be able to compete in these huge worldwide tournaments for tribal books.
All right, so I'm gonna I have a few more questions from my list, and then we have some questions from the chat. Anybody on the stream that does have a question, you can put it into the chat. I see there are already a couple. We will get to those right after this. So where is the sale? The sale's happening on the buy packs.
Tribal Books.
Yeah, tribalbooks.io. What's the type of sale? It's just going to be, it's not an auction. It's just going to be a free fall, right? The time hits 0 and packs are for sale. Once they're gone, they're gone.
Packs are for sale, and the sale will stay open until the last pack is sold. There's no time limit. Like I said, the pack sale is in wax, so make sure you're prepared. I know I've been caught sort of with my pants down when one sale happened and I wasn't ready, and then next thing I know, I'm on Nudex's market buying wax. There's not the best liquidity over there sometimes. I think one day I did a fat finger. I raised the price of wax tokens like 40% on KuCoin one day for like one of these sales. So yeah, be ready ahead of time. Don't make the same mistake I did. You don't want to, don't do any crazy market buys, and, or go ahead and do some market buys, because we would all like to see a increase in the wax price, I think. But
all right, one more. Where do you open the packs? And that'll be on the site as well, right?
That's right. There's going to be, right. It's not there yet because it's not live, but right on the pack site, there's going to be, a button that'll say, open packs. So basically, you'll buy your packs. The packs will be immediately, deposited into your wax account, and then when you hit the button to go open your pack, you're going to be brought to a whole nother screen, a whole new part of the website where it will automatically know which packs you have, and you'll be able to, it'll be just like many of the other pack opening sites, except for I think it's got a cool kind of little twist to it, and you'll pick your asset and perform the ancient ritual, and your assets will manifest.
All right, so we got some questions here in the chat. Bit and Mortar. Mints for first to open. So yeah, mint numbers is just going to be based on when you actually open the pack instead of when you buy the pack, correct?
It is. It's right. It's going to be similar to like
just
the
like all the others.
All the GPKs, right? Well, I know that now there has been some cool, some experimentation with that, and that is kind of cool. I've seen some different pack openings now, and I think one of them even did it was like they're pre-minted, but it was still random when you bought, right? I'm not sure which one that was, and I know Alien Worlds did some kind of interesting mechanic with the opening as well, right? But yeah, so it'll be traditional, wax GPK style. First one to open, the first pack that gets minted. When you crack that pack, that will have number ones in it. And the second one that gets minted, So yeah, buy early, open quick, buy early and often, open as fast as you can.
Another good one from
if you care about those early mints.
Another good question from Bit and Mortar. Scatter friendly. Is this Wax Cloud wallet only, or any Wax account you got, you can use whatever wallet you want?
So that's a good question, man. It's going to be actually with the Wax Cloud wallet. It's just like I think most of the GPK drops as well. In order to use the pack opening site, I believe you do need to log in with the Wax Cloud wallet.
Okay, so not scatter friendly. I wonder about the sale. For the sale,
that's a good question.
Yeah. These are ones I didn't think about. Good questions, Bit and Mortar. I didn't think
that's
about
a good question. And because all of our literature says Wax Cloud wallet, I would just say, if you do have, if you don't have a Wax Cloud wallet, and you want to take part in the sale, just make sure you have one. You probably want to have one anyway. It's a good idea to just have one. You can always transfer your assets back out of the Wax Cloud wallet back into an account that you manage the keys to, if that's your jam. But Wax Cloud wallet's easy to set up. So if you don't have one, grab yourself a Wax Cloud wallet. I personally prefer to use Anchor or a Scatter or whatever myself as well. So I know the feeling. But in some cases, actually they did just redo the Wax Cloud wallet. I don't know if you saw that or not, Rob, but the new Wax Cloud wallet is just released, I think, just a few days ago, and it's actually looking pretty sharp.
Yeah, I haven't played around with it yet, but I think it was the EOS Miami guy, Marlon, I think, did it. I'm not sure though, But yeah, they did the Squirrel wallet as well for Telos and stuff. So it definitely is a sexy looking wallet. It looks a lot better than what they had before. So that'll be fun to play around with.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, it's really user friendly. I think there's 2 different options to buy wax with fiat through the wallet itself. So for all you people who are new to wax, if you need some wax tokens and you're not really on any exchange yet, there is options to buy some wax just with a credit card. I think MoonPay possibly. The other thing I'll mention, of course, for people looking for wax tokens, of course, they're available on Nudex. You can trade EOS tokens for wax right on Nudex by clicking the side over in the top right hand corner. You change to sidechain and select wax there, and you'll be able to trade wax for EOS if you're an EOS holder as well. But yeah, get yourself some wax tokens, get a wax cloud wallet just to be safe. Make sure you have some wax in there and have it ready to go, and go to tribalbooks.io at 12 Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday, 11/11.
All right, let's see here. Blankos is on wax. No, Blankos will be on its own chain, own EOS.io chain, as I understand it. So the issue is currently limited, but are they any plans to make extensions in the future if it picks up? I believe this is talking about. So yeah, I believe this is talking about Series 2. Will there be a Series 2? And
yeah, of course. The game's development will continue, just like Prospectors continues to develop, right? There's new lands launching, they do new SSLs. It will be similar to this, but the one thing you can know for sure is that these specific assets won't ever be reproduced in this way again. Like there won't ever be this exact these ancient symbols collection, which are universal to all the characters and all the books. These exact symbols will never be reproduced ever again. So you can trust that these will be unique and these will be limited in number. And when they do a second series, there'll be differences, different symbols, different use cases, different utility. Maybe some will be, like I said earlier, like for specific characters or for specific books. So there will be differences. So, and again, like I said, they will maybe not be universal like these ones are. So, these ones will be special, for forever, basically. These may be the only ones, or some of the only ones that are universal in nature. So they'll have more utility than ones that will be released in the future. But yes, there absolutely will be, of course, there'll need to be, of course, more drops, because you imagine there's only 1,500 books getting dropped, right?
Yeah. And
that's a pretty important part of the game. So you can imagine in the future, there'll be more books dropped. It will be, a second series book. And then, maybe one day a third series book. And you can imagine if there's, 100,000 players in the future or 1 million players in the future, there's going to need to be a 5th series book and a 6th series book. And, you can imagine that, those people who, at that time when there's big tournaments and people are playing tribal books for big money, you can imagine those original series OS1 books, tribal books that there was only 1,500 of, you can imagine those will be pretty sought after.
All right, got a few more here. DeViro, when will the game be playable? I have Chibi's scars.
Oh, Chibi's scars. So one thing you can rest assured that this team won't pull a Chibi's. These guys, have been in the blockchain space for a long time, and they have a lot of credibility. Prospectors was started back before EOS was even a chain. There was no EOS.io when Prospectors was launching on Ethereum. These guys, have proved that they can create a game with balance. And you can imagine creating a game like Prospectors where there's an entire economy. Like in the real economy, they can't manage the economy correctly. So it's like these guys had to create an economy from scratch and make every asset in the game have a use case and have that use case balance out so that all the tools, would be worthwhile to use those tools to get that mineral, and that mineral would be able to make steel, and that the price of that steel would be correct in relation to what the tools cost. So basically, long story short, Prospectors is really intense as far as game balance is concerned. And so, these guys have the credibility. They've built a blockchain game, and they built, actually, Prospectors was the very first ever 100% on-chain massive multiplayer online real-time game economic strategy. It was never done before. So these guys not only have credibility, but these guys have already done something that's never been done before and proved it could be successful. And, you can imagine, for a long time, Prospectors was the #1 game on EOS. It was the #1 most used app at one time. And then when it launched on Wax, it was hands down the #1 most used app for, I think, maybe the whole time on Wax. Like, it was the most used app, maybe just until recently, maybe even still is. But, and these are small communities too, and, so it's been, and of course, as any of us EOS OGs know, the community has been, it's there's not all that many of us left, so Wax has a pretty vibrant community, and it seems to be growing with the NFT collectors coming, and some of the NFT sort of excitement spilling over from Ethereum crowd. And so of course this game, using Wax and using atomic assets, we're shooting for the stars, so to speak. We all know Wax can scale. We all know EOS.io can scale. And we all know that Wax hopefully will be, one of the main chains used for NFTs in the future. So I think it stands to reason that, they chose the right chain by choosing Wax, and that these guys have the credibility to trust that they're going to not only make a good game, but it's going to be balanced, and that they'll take all of the aspects into consideration when it comes to the power numbers and the energy needed to use all these NFTs within actually playing the game mechanics itself as far as the map is concerned, the game balance as far as the game matching you up with other players correctly, so that you're evenly matched. There's a lot that will go into it, and I'll just say that you can basically trust that the team has delivered in the past, and this definitely isn't going to be chibis.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, just look at Prospectors. It's been around forever, always improving. I mean, an entire economy. And I believe you said earlier the game is in alpha, so they have it on chain. They're testing it in testnet or whatever. So it's not like the game doesn't exist yet. It's just in alpha testing at this point.
It is, and they're working on all those elements of that balance, like we were talking about before. And one cool thing is, when the game does go into beta, I actually took part in the beta on Prospectors, one of the early betas, and then when it moved to testnet, I was actually one of the. I think they chose only 500 people that were able to that were part of the beta team of testing Prospectors, and I was one of those. And I kind of met a lot of good people there. We formed sort of a little Prospectors crew, and I'm still friends with some of those guys to this day. And we had a lot of great time playing together. And I think the same thing will happen here. I think there'll be sort of a community that will build around this game. And of course, when the beta opens, we will let everyone know in Telegram, and I'm sure on Twitter as well. So make sure you're following Tribal Books at Twitter, and on t.me Tribal Books on Telegram to stay in touch with the announcements. And when we launch the beta, we will be looking to allow in some testers. So if you're super stoked on the game and you want to get like an early sneak peek, and also sort of help out with the development, because it's the beta testers that are that final stage of game balance management, where everyone's sort of opinion matters. I remember, there was, even Prospectors looked very different from some of the early betas to what it was when it launched. There were things that just, even by beta weren't right and had to be changed just to make the game work better. One example is, like, there was these, the real original version. It was like the mountains all the rocks were in one mountain. So the rocks in the game are, of course, an important part of the game, and all the rocks were sort of in these mountains. And they were very easy to find. And so the players, when the game started, immediately people went and hoarded all those mountains. And so they basically, monopolized the rocks in the game. And if you wanted any rocks, if you wanted to build any building, you had to basically, bow down to these guys. It was like the rock mafia, So, so of course, the game moved into the next phase. It moved into beta, and they spread the rocks out all over the map, right? And so, similar things will happen, I'm sure, with Tribal Books. There's going to be, and it will continue developing. That's another thing that we want to reiterate to people is that, just like Prospectors, it started and there was an original map, and there was, of course, a roadmap with plans to expand for years out, with major points like the railroad, which took maybe almost a year into development before we were able to connect the Wax chain and EOS chain, and really one of the first real uses you really see of inter-blockchain communication just working flawlessly as we're sending assets back and forth from EOSIO chains, which has always been one of the talking points of EOSIO and how all the chains will be able to communicate. And Prospectors has been right there pushing the development of this basically brand new technology, and showing these use cases, and really making use of these use cases to actually make the game be better, whereas a lot, it's really at the start of pushing this technology to where it can go. But Prospectors has been there, pushing the development right from the beginning of EOS, and continues to do so with by launching these new worlds like the Boomtown, Yukon, and Wild West. So there's 3 Prospectors worlds launched now, and they continue developing. Like I said, the railroad was a major point on the roadmap, and tribal books will be no different. There'll be a roadmap, and they'll continue adding to the map, and they'll continue expanding, and there'll be little twists and turns, and sort of new things to keep the community engaged and to keep the game fun, because that's the whole point, right? You have to keep having fun. If it gets old or stale, people stop playing. The development will always continue, and they'll keep expanding it, and there'll continue to be more drops with more NFTs with more utility, and which will then lead to more tournaments and more prize money to be won in those tournaments. And the bigger the game gets, and the more people that are taking part in the economy and taking part in the secondary market sales, the bigger these prize pools will be. So it's kind of like, the sky's the limit. The bigger the community gets, the bigger the prize pools will get, which will of course draw in new players who will, inevitably see these prize tournaments going on, and people will bring their friends in, and the game will hopefully keep growing.
All right, 2 more questions, then we'll get into talking pack giveaways. Can we level up the cards, or just the utility of the card for value? So
you're not going to be leveling up the cards. You're going to, but the books are different. So the books, so like I said, there's 2 types of NFTs. There's going to be the cards, which are all the symbols. Then there's also going to be your book. And so the whole point of the tribal books is you're kind of like leveling them up. So the books, from what I understand, the books will be, one of the key components of the game as far as, leveling it up with these magical forces. And, of course, because they're an NFT, it will be able to, those books will be able to go on the open market, and, you'll be able to be, looking at these different books that are connected to these different tribes. And not only will they be leveled up, but then they also are different rarities. So you could have a rare book and level that book up to make it even more valuable. So yeah, that's a really cool aspect.
All right, one more. Any ETA for a gameplay demo if alpha is currently in testing? Let's get a demo out. Let's see a demo.
I know. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Any ETA on that, or?
No ETA yet. It's a good question. I should have asked about that, but I know they're talking about early in 2021. I think Q1. That will actually see some live testing. I know we'll be in beta probably even before then. So it's really not that long. You think we're already in November. So I mean, we're only a few months away from, I think, even opening it up and having people be testing out the beta with us. So I'm sure we'll get some cool, at least some images, maybe some. We'll get some leaked photos. We'll try to get you guys some juicy nuggets and get to see what this thing looks like. Because I'll tell you, I'm like excited to check it out myself.
All right, one more just came in. Then we're doing talking giveaways. So, will the mint numbers affect gameplay?
No, the mint numbers is just sort of a thing that collectors like to pay attention to, And so there's so many aspects of the NFTs that will, what's really cool. You think about it. So, with a lot of these other collectibles, not to harp on it, but it's like you have these handfuls that everybody wants, and then you have if they don't have a high mint number, they're like, they're just like 1 in a million, right? They're just like kind of, you have all these commons, and if they're a super high mint number, they're all basically like, not very collectible, right? Whereas like Whereas like one cool thing about these is you're going to have, obviously the mint numbers is going to come into play and people are of course going to want the mint numbers, but then you have all these other elements for every single card. Even the common cards are going to have an element associated with them. They're going to have a movement associated with them. They're going to have, you know, a power number associated with them. And so all of those things actually will come into play with the collectability as well, because, you know, if it, you know, you might have card that has a particular element that you're looking for, or but people might try to scoop up all the cards of a particular type, you know. So again, like you have, so aside from just the mint number, you have all these reasons to want to collect that card or a particular type of card, whereas just something completely different than we see from like the collectibles market, where, you know, you have your, you know, your atom bombs and your nasty nicks and your, you know, your whatever, but then you have, you know, 40 other cards that people don't care about that much. And, you know, when the mint, you know, of course, Potty Scotty is always going to be sought after. But, you know, once you get into some of those, you know, obscure ones, you know, if they're high mint numbers, people really don't care. And I think that's another, you know, really cool thing is you have all these different elements that are going to make these NFTs be collectible. Mint numbers is really just one small aspect that, of course, you know, some people like us will care about. But I think in the future, you know, when people are playing the game, you know, you think a few years down the line, when this game is more mainstream and there's, you know, it gets a real mainstream sort of following, when people look back and they know it's a series 1, that's a series 1 tribal book, one of the universal symbols, the ancient symbols, they're not going to care what mint number it was, because there was only 20,000 commons total ever anyway, right? So even if it was the last one minted, people are going to be like, oh, that's a series 1. It's, you know, it's going to be totally irrelevant, and it's going to be in mint condition, and it's going to be, you know, just as rare then as you know it can be. So, you know, as we know.
And with the 170 variations or whatever it was, I mean,
yeah, it's got 187 different unique symbols. So it's like it's the chances are such that there could be just like some symbols that just end up being ridiculously rare just by the fact that the random number generator might just randomly pull like ones more than others, right? So you have all these different aspects that just make the collectability be, all these gamification aspects to the collectability that weren't there with a lot of these other sets, because you have this high number of unique assets but such a low mint number that you're going to end up with really rare cards just by the numbers. And then of course, you know, you have, you know, only 1,500 like of the books, and of course the books have their own rarities. So with only half being common, so even if the numbers hold out true with the random number generator, and you know you have around 50% of the books being common, you're gonna have, you know, that's what, only 750 books total of common that are common. That's like that's like numbers of like you know, the rare, you know, an A series GPK OS1 A of like a good card that there's only 400 of, you know, it's like, and that's the book that everybody wants, you know. So it's like you have maybe 700 commons and you're going to only have maybe a couple hundred rare and maybe a couple hundred unique, and, you know, maybe less than 100 epics, and maybe less than, you know, only a handful of legendary books, and maybe, like we said, maybe up to 15 mythic books. So just by the percentages, you're going to have, you know, even the common books by the numbers, there's only going to be 750 roundabout, which is ridiculously low already in and of itself, you know. So even if you have that 750, you know, that 1,500 mint book, you know, you minted the last book, you have the highest mint number total, and it's a common, it's still only one of 750, you know. It's going to be 750 of 750 mint. So it's like, you know, that's still ridiculously rare. And you know, you can imagine being such an important part of the game that, you know, in the future, a mint number will probably have a lot less, you know, have a lot less to do with the collectability in the future when the game takes off than what it will in the beginning, when it's just us figuring out, you know, doing price discovery in the market. Of course, the high mint numbers are going to be really coveted, but I think, you know, once the game is around and people are playing it, it reaches mass adoption, you know, I think mint numbers will you know, probably not matter as much to a lot of the players of the game.
All right, so let's get into the giveaways. First off, if you did not enter the Twitter giveaway, I will pop a link to the Twitter giveaway into the live chat. That is one chance to win. I'll be choosing a couple winners from here to send packs to. And then those of you that are still on the stream, looks like there's 28 of you. We're going to do a pack giveaway for you guys as well. So 28, that's almost 30. What do you think, Bonds? Give away 3 packs?
Yeah, well, let's give away 2 packs and a book for the 3 packs. So let's make sure that one of these 28 people is going to get a book. So one of those people is going to have a, you know, one of only 1,500 books of the first series minted tribal books.
All right.
Book.
So, let's go ahead and put in the word tribal with your wax account name after it. Comment tribal with your wax account name after it, and we will select 3 people. We're going to be giving away 2 packs and 1 book. You won't know what you're going to get until these packs actually drop, but we're giving away 2 packs and 1 book to 3 people that are currently on the stream. Put in the word tribal with your wax account name after it into the chat right now. And let me pull over the live chat here. Pop out chat. All right. Looks like we got some coming in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So starting off here. Okay. All right, and I have a form already set up, Bonds, so I'll just input these names or these account names after we select them and send that to you. All right. All right, so we got 27 on here. The word tribal with your wax account name after it, and we will go
Hey,
through.
I just thought of something fun too, Rob. Too, we can invite any of these winners. We had talked about before about doing another live stream and doing some live pack rips for tribal books. Whenever we do that, we should let the winners know, and if they want to jump on and do and open their pack live while we're live, and be kind of maybe a cool thing to see what the community was able to win out of this giveaway.
Yeah, and I will be doing pack rip streams, gameplay streams, and if you are a subscriber, you've been on pack rip streams, you know that means lots of giveaways. So there will definitely be more giveaways of tribal books during pack rip streams. So make sure you're subscribed. If you're not, click on that notification bell, because when I'm ready to rip packs, sometimes it's just 15 minutes notice, then I'm going live ripping packs. Yeah. Sometimes you just get the feeling the pack rip gods speak to you, and they're like, you gotta do it now. All right. All right. Looks like we got a bunch of account names in here now. So let me count down how many we have. Let me do live chat instead of top chat. All right.
Do you got a random number generator
3,
going
4,
there?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is extra tudos. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 27. I think that's exactly how many we have. 28, 29, 30. And there's only 27 people on. All right, so we have 30. Should I just random number generate this?
Yeah, let's do a random number generator. Let's give away the. Let's work our way up. Let's start with the starter pack. Start with the booster pack. So it's only 3 cards, but a 0.5% chance at the mythic. So this person will get a booster pack. Then we'll give away a starter pack. Then we'll give away a book. Of course, the starter pack is going to be the most valuable. I think it's got 2. It's going to have a couple rares and unique guaranteed.
All right. Well, then do you want to record this down? Because the form I have only has account names. I don't have who's getting what.
Oh, okay. Well, we could also, that could also be random then. Why don't we just do it random? Just pick 3 winners, and then me and you, we can just do a random thing of who how they get picked when we start cracking packs.
Okay, so
we'll keep it random. We'll keep it fair.
I believe there was 31. 31. We'll give this 3 clicks. 1, 2, 3. Number 8. So the first person, number 8, let's count down. Number 8, starting with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Brett91AG P1CQW.wham. Let me put that into the form. All right. Submit another response. And we'll do 3 more clicks. If it's 8 again, sorry, we're clicking one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 11. Number 11. Number 11 starting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Cesar Hernandez Garcia, RH3AW.wham. Copy that. Paste that one in. Submitted. All right, you're now
you go,
in the
Caesar.
form. And one more. 3 clicks. If it's 8 or 11, we're picking again. 1, 2, 3. 16. Lucky number 16. All right. So this was 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Cricket. BSOQM.wham.
Congrats, Cricket.
All right, congrats to you 3 guys. Now you still have a chance to win in the Twitter giveaway. This Twitter giveaway will be going until the packs actually go on sale. So you got a while, but
day and a half.
Yeah, you had the better chance in the stream because there's only less than 30 of you on, giving away 3 packs. That's a 10% chance. In the Twitter giveaway, already over 209 likes, 200 retweets, and a whole bunch of comments. So I'll leave this tweet in the live chat again. But any last words, Bonds? Anything we didn't cover? You want to talk about?
Man, I had a lot of fun, dude. I can't wait to do some pack rips now after we've been talking about it, just to see if I can come up with some of these rare varieties. Honestly, after talking to you, I'm kind of like I got myself hyped up here a little bit on this. So, man, that was a blast. Let's do it again, and we'll have some more stuff to give away. We'll bring some packs. We'll bring some books. We'll chat and rip some packs and do it again, man.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
One last thing. In the description of this stream, in the description of all my videos, there is a link to the EOS Newswire.1 EOS Airdrops and Airgrab notification group. There is a spot here for your email, EOS account, Wax account, and TLOS account. If you are not on this yet, I will be doing something special. So put in your email address and your Wax account at a minimum if you're into the Wax NFTs, and then EOS account and Telos account if you have those as well. That is the EOS.io airdrop and airgrab notification group. When there is something free on one of these EOS.io chains, you'll get an email about it. So again, link to that in the description. But yeah, thanks for joining me, Bonds. What are we? Well over an hour at this point. Man. Hour and 15 minutes into this thing. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe. Anything else?
Thanks for having me, man. Always appreciate it. I had a blast, bro.
All right, good. Yeah, it was fun. All right, well, that's it.
And
for
thanks
us.
Thanks for everybody who hung out for a whole. If you were here for that whole hour and 15 minutes, you're a trooper. I can't wait to be seeing you in the game and in the community. Tribal books. This should be fun.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining. See you in the next one.